Okay, hi, this is Bill Jenkins. I am going to cover a topic today which is not so much for the normal readers of my blog, but for kind of more advanced users of Infusionsoft. And the basic issue here is how to accomplish tag conditioned merges for emails. The problem is that when you have a campaign that needs to send different email copy based upon tag assignment, Infusionsoft does not offer a conditional merge feature. So you can't, in the merge fields in the email copy, you can't test a tag and decide which version of the merger to do. So this requires maintaining multiple versions of the email copy, one for each tag scenario. So in this little video, I'm going to do a simplified example where you need to send a link to a file to the customer, and that file has pricing info, and the file is called prices.pdf. However, the price varies based upon the city that the customer lives in, Chicago, Phoenix, or Dallas, and the price also varies based upon the day that the service is going to be delivered, Saturday or not a Saturday. So the result is that yields 6 different versions of the email copy, one version for each path to the file that you want to send to the customer. And here's your examples. Example.com is a made-up domain, but then Chicago/SAT, that's the Chicago Saturday version of the prices, and then Chicago not SAT is the Chicago not Saturday version of the prices. Likewise for Phoenix and likewise for Dallas, for a total of 6. Now in that case, let me just mention that this example actually derives from a real example, real-world example, where all the scenarios that this customer I had required would have resulted in 60 different versions of the email to be maintained, and obviously that's not manageable because email copy tends to change frequently. By implementing some techniques that I'm demonstrating here, I was able to get that down to a single version of the email copy, which is much easier to maintain. So the solution is to determine which portions of the email copy are variable and how each of them varies. So in our example, the day varies by SAT or non-SAT. And remember, let's go back to here. SAT, or, well, it says not SAT, so let me go back and fix this real quick. It's actually SAT or not SAT. And the city varies by Chicago, Phoenix, or Dallas. Set up a custom field then for each variable, one for day and one for city. And then for each alternative value of a custom field, create an action set that assigns that value to the custom field. So we have a total of 5 values, right? SAT, not SAT, and Chicago, Phoenix, or Dallas, so we'll need 5 action sets. And then use decision nodes based on your tags to determine which action sets to execute. Now that's kind of a mouthful all there. We'll do that, a demonstration of it all. But let me just mention, by the way, you should never have 2 action sets execute at the same time inside of a sequence. So in this picture here, I've got 2 action sets which are basically connected together. They look like they execute serially, but inside of a sequence, there is no guarantee with Infusionsoft that things connected together serially actually execute serially, and in fact, experience says that these execute roughly at the same time. And there's some reality of legacy action sets is that if they execute at the same time, one of them often will not execute. So you have 2 choices here. You either combine these into a single action set, or instead of doing that, if you are not able to do that, then you separate them with a delay timer, and that forces them to be executed serially. So let's take a look at the Infusionsoft side. Here's my list of action sets, okay? And down at the bottom I've added some. Set data SAT, set data not SAT, likewise city to Phoenix, city to Chicago, and city to Dallas. That's the action sets I've set up for this experiment. In the campaign, so here's the test campaign I've set up. It basically starts with a web form which looks like this. It's very simple: name, email, which city, what day, and these radio items will each assign a tag for the city or for the day based upon which radio buttons are selected. So when that form is submitted, the first thing that happens is we check to see which tag is set for the day. Let's take a look. If the contacts tags contain Saturday, then we're going to do the Saturday sequence. If the context tag does not contain Saturday, then we're going to do the not Saturday sequence. So let's go look at the Saturday sequence. Set day to sat is a process that invokes an action set. It's one of these. Let me add an action set and show you as an example how these are created. Here we opened up add an action set. We're going to select a name. Let me give it to set day to sat 2, since I already have one. And I'm going to choose the action, which is to set a contact field to a specific value. Now it's going to give me a set of contact fields. And I'm going to choose the day field that I've created as a custom field. And I'm going to give it a value, SAT. That's what I've set up in this campaign to be the value I need. And I'm just going to simply save that. And now I've got an action set called set day to sat 2. I'll save it. And there it is in my list. So now I actually have 2 action sets that do the exact same thing. So inside of this sequence called Saturday, it's basically invoking, it's all it does is it invokes set day to sat, which is the action set which is going to set that custom field called day to the value of sat. And of course this one is going to have an action set that instead sets day to not sat. They come back together in a empty campaign sequence. I often do this as my own method of bringing these together into one position so that I can have a single decision diamond. If I didn't have this empty campaign sequence here, then I'd have a decision diamond following this one and a decision diamond following this one, because each of them will have to go into all 3 of these. And so by combining them here, I can have a single decision diamond that feeds all 3 of these. Now this next decision diamond or decision node is likewise going to be choosing based upon tags again. This is if the tags contain Chicago, do the Chicago sequence. Likewise Phoenix. I'm not going to go through the rest of this since you all get that pretty clearly. And likewise inside of the Chicago sequence, it's going to have an action set which sets the value of the Chicago custom field to Chicago. Okay, so now the last step is to send an email. And this is what the email copy looks like. It's simply hello, contact first name, here's the link you need. It's simply giving the domain, merging in the day, merging in the city, and prices.pdf. And now I've got a single version of the email copy that works for all 6 versions of the URL that can happen. So if we go back and look at that email that I just sent, here it is. Hello Ted, here's the link you need. Merged SAT and Chicago into the link. So that's a way to use tag conditioned merges in emails. Obviously it can get much more sophisticated than the simple example I gave here with prose content in the emails. However, you got to be careful about the formatting issues when inserting long stretches of prose into an email, and you may need to choose to use the HTML builder and put your formatting into the custom field such that it will format correctly. That's all, and thanks for listening.